Hello everyone, I am Jocelyn. Today I am going to tell you about my unusual experience. This unusual experience happened to me lately. It happened to me when I was baking my cookies. At first, I was just doing what I usually do. I melted some butter, I added sugar and brown sugar, then I let it cool down. Then after it cooled down, I added all-purpose flour, chocolate chips, diced chocolates, and I also added the butter, brown sugar, and sugar earlier. Then I also cracked an egg. This unusual experience happened when I cracked the egg. So on the egg had two yolks, and I just let it on my batter and I stir it and I combine the batter. So after I combine the batter, I let the batter sit on the refrigerator for 2 until 3 hours. Then after 2 or 3 hours, I preheated my oven. I took out the dough. Then I make circles with my hand. I make the dough circles with my hand. Then I put them on tray. I bake them for 15 to 20 minutes until it is brown and it is golden. After they look like they're baked and brown, I took them from the oven and I let the cookies stay for about 10 minutes before I transferred them to a container. After I transferred them to a container, I tried the cookies and it turned out really great because the texture was not too crumbly and the edge was crispy. I think that I will add 2 yolks in my batter because when I add only 1 yolk, it becomes too crumbly and the texture won't be very good. After that, I searched on the internet whether it is normal for an egg to have 2 yolks, and it is said that it is normal for an egg to have 2 yolks because of the hen DNA, because the DNA of the hen, and it can happen because the hen is too young to produce eggs, so they have 2 yolks in an egg. And it was also mentioned that in some traditions, having 2 yolks in an egg is a good sign or lucky sign, but in some traditions it can be also a bad sign. Not long after that, I stumbled upon a post in Instagram and it said on the comment that some people also experience the same, and it was normal in some areas, but I can't really remember which area, so I can't mention it here, but I can clearly remember what I had read. So I have another unusual experience. It was unusual because when I was baking my cookies, I I misunderstood that the raisins for chocolate chips. Therefore, I don't use the chocolate chips, but I use the raisins for my cookie dough, which actually I don't want to use raisins because I wanted to bake chocolate chip cookies. But after I baked the cookies, it turned out really good. My whole family love it, and I think that is unusual for me to experience that because that was not supposed to happen. And another unusual experience is that when I was young, I took swimming course. It was on Saturday. It was on Saturday, and I trained to swim. When I was swimming on the deep pool for adults, someone grabbed my shoulders, and feel like I felt like I will drown. So I called for help. I shouted loudly, and after I shouted loudly, then the adults came to save me, and after that I realized that someone had touched my shoulders, and that made me drown because I couldn't because I couldn't because I couldn't swim because of the weight, and I almost cried for it. I almost cried because of it, but turned out it was someone who's younger than me gripping my shoulder. Luckily, because I was loud enough. Luckily, because I was loud enough, it can my sound can be heard. My sound can be heard by the adults because the child that grabbed my shoulders was quite child, not really. Uh, her sound was not really loud. I also experienced something unusual when I was young. When I visited my grandma's home, there was an old house, and I believe that was emptied at that time. So it was New Year's It was New Year's Eve. I visited my grandma's house and I returned to my home late. So it happened when I want to go home. When I want to go home, I walked to go to my dad's car, and when I was walking, I saw pocong. I saw pocong on that old house, but luckily now I don't see any of them. That happened very quickly. I tried to chase the thing. I tried to chase the thing because I was curious and I was young, so I don't know what is that thing. And it happened and it blinked. I don't see I don't see him anymore when I was near. I don't see that thing when it was near. I was near. So it was very unusual for me. Then I asked my then I didn't tell anyone when I was but when some time passed by, I told my mom and my mom said that luckily I don't see any, and I agree with my mom. Luckily I don't see any of those things anymore. And about my unusual experience, again, I experienced something unusual when I was a child. When I was on the elementary school, I believe I was on a 4th grade or 3rd grade. I had a sharpener, and because of my own fault, I experienced something unusual. I put my pinky finger on inside of the sharpener, then I twisted to right, and then I cut my finger, and I also cut my nails. I covered it with Hansaplast, and now it is recovered. It's like nothing happened with my finger. Then I don't know what to say anymore because I don't have that many of unusual experience. My life has been straight, I think. That's all about my unusual experience. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.